Alchemical Records Newsletter by Daniel Warren Hill. Published August 5, 2022. Subscribe to Alchemical Records magazine today to support our continuing efforts online and the launch of our printed zine making its debut this October. Today, I'd like to walk you through a little bit about what you can expect from us as we dive headfirst into our printed zine. First, I'll reveal a little bit about my reasoning for pursuing this particular form of media. I was an avid comic book fan when I was a kid. Perhaps like many of you, I found a sense of belonging and community with those who read comics. Over the years, I also fell in love with the writers and the artists that brought comics to life. I mostly read a lot of Spiderman and Batman with a touch of X-Men before expanding into the worlds of Neil Gaiman, Frank Miller, and Alan Moore. I've also been a longtime fan of Kevin Smith. It has been very serendipitous to see many of my favorite works become modern feature films or series, and I'm a fan of film as a medium, but there is something that always brings me back to the timelessness of comic books. As a teenager, a friend of the family made it possible for us to read a number of comics from the Golden Age, and they were just as exciting to read in my childhood as it must have been for them, and most likely just as riveting to new readers today. It is partly this nostalgia that draws me to comics as a medium for the Alchemical Records zine. Collectability is another major factor. There is something precious about the medium and the desire to protect it, collect it, and share it. There is also an exceptional community that grows increasingly more diverse, and the medium has grown stronger by highlighting the very real stories of people like activist Congressman John Robert Lewis, or being able to tackle difficult concepts like the Holocaust in Mouse. I only know of one other music magazine in print that embraces the comic book style art form, Big Stir in California. I'm optimistic that maybe our respective zines could find a way to help unite the coasts with our indie vibes, in-depth interviews, and original artwork. As an indie musician myself, I've read tons and tons of issues of music magazines, especially guitar-centric magazines like Guitar Player, Acoustic Guitar, Vintage Guitar, and Guitar World. There are some excellent features there about learning to play the instrument using artist songs and about what kinds of gear the musicians use that I would love to be able to incorporate at some point, but heavily influenced our initial launch, which is still very artist-centric today. I think our unique combination of editorial content and features will be a game-changer, especially for the metropolitan Washington, D.C. area. I think that Alchemical Records magazine is as accessible to audiences at Comic-Con as easily as South by Southwest. Our team has discussed some really interesting ideas for tying in certain sections of the website into the printed zine, providing a truly multimedia experience. You can imagine that our printed zine will not be a success without subscribers. I'm just going to come right out and ask that you take a few moments to subscribe to Alchemical Records magazine and help us share the stories of musicians you love or musicians we know you'll come to love as we have. Alchemical Records has been fully funded by my efforts as a full-time musician within the DMV until the pandemic, and then became fully funded by my efforts to consult other artists on achieving their own unique success themselves. We continue to produce around 30 pieces of unique content every week, including our live stream interviews. Our readership is in the thousands and our social media reaches 500,000 eyeballs annually. We've done just about all we can do without some financial help, so if I and my team have elevated some artist or their music in your hearts over the last 13 years, we'd really appreciate you providing us with the help we need to hit our next targets. I would also like to ask for your help in a few other ways if you'll permit me. First, our printed zine will take advantage of the medium to highlight photographers and folks who design album art. We'll be looking to collaborate with more artists who might contribute various art styles to some of our features. If you know any photographers or graphic designers with ties to DC, MD, or VA, we'd love to chat with them. Just reply to this email with any suggestions. We're also looking to connect with local filmmakers, dancers, actors, backing vocalists, studio engineers, producers, and just about any other kind of creator you can imagine. We'd love to unearth the close ties within the community and reveal more of the expansive reach of the DMV music scene within a global context. Thank you for your continued support of Alchemical Records and the artists we have the pleasure of sharing with you. P.S. Join me this Monday, August 8th at 8 p.m. ET for an interview with Oren Levine of Groove Park with collaborator Khadijo Kwabena, live from the island of Sa. Croix. Then join our team for our in-depth conversation with NFT musician Pip on August 16th.